are truly privileged to welcome Tasoula Hadjitofi, a cultural activist, author, and entrepreneur who will share the insights from her personal journey. At the age of 27, she was the first woman and youngest person appointed Honorary Consul of Cyprus in the Netherlands. Tasoula's fight against art trafficking earned her the title Woman of Europe 2008 and the Order of St. Barnabas, Cyprus' highest honor. In 2011, she founded the NGO Walk of Truth, blending her entrepreneurial skills with her passion for cultural heritage protection. Her story is one of resilience, leadership, and lasting impact. A warm welcome to Tasoula Hadjitofi.
Hello, everyone. I was just saying to Tanya that it actually gave me less stress to fly from the Netherlands with my baby dog yesterday than it took me this morning to drive from Meneu with the road being cut and going around Bervolia. So I sincerely apologize that I was a few minutes late, and I wanted so much to hear the previous speakers. So I stand here today in front of you as truly one of you. I'm a woman, a STEM professional myself, a mother, a wife, an entrepreneur, living in the Netherlands, and a fellow Cypriot. As an expat living in Holland, who experienced most challenges of expatriation that you are facing. Married to an international professional and raising children abroad without family support, balancing all those hats is just not easy. I admire all of us for trying. But this is how we create meaningful existence, meaningful lives. Lives full of challenges, lives full of memories, lessons learned, and storytelling. Each one of us has a story to tell. And I thank Tech Island and my beloved Tanya for inviting me here today, and you for coming here to share my story, my walk of truth, from STEM to an activist, and then to an author. I am a STEM as I studied computer science in the United Kingdom, Norwich, in the late 70s, when computers were run by punch cards, and a computer was as big as this room. My first lesson was creating a flowchart for making Cypriot coffee. Cypriot coffee seems very easy, but you try to map it. Cold water or hot? Sugar or not? Kaimaki foam or not? How to steer it and when to steer it. And let me give you a tip that I learned. If you give the last steer when the coffee is bubbling on the side, you get white foam. So making a flowchart reveals the hidden complexities of simple tasks. Nobody can automate a process without mapping it into small steps to feed the computer to learn. Breaking problems into small parts makes them easy to solve. And this analytical mindset is key in STEM fields. It trains our brain to constantly stimulate alternative thinking and focuses on problem solving. I shall share with you now how this STEM thinking has helped me in my journey. Arriving in the Netherlands in late 70s, early 80s, without speaking Dutch was a challenge for an old-fashioned Greek Orthodox girl from Famagusta. An Israeli expat called Lily Block gave me my first chance, my first job in 1980. She actually told me, I will give you a chance, Tasoula, as you remind me of myself. After I told her, I personally knocked 200 doors of international companies in The Hague until the HR would see me. I never forgot her, and I'm to date so grateful to her that I have been creating chances and giving jobs to international professionals, most of whom are STEM professionals, via my HR companies under the name Octagon Professionals International. Soon after, I joined Cambridge Systematics, a Boston-based company that opened a branch in Holland in creating studies in transportation. This job exposed me as a young professional to some of the top mathematical modelers and econometricians of the world. I had the honor to work in the same company as Nobel Prize winner for econometrics Dan McFadden, Professor Moshe Ben Akiva of MIT, and Professor Marvin Manheim of Northern Carolina. After 8 years with these top intellectuals, they taught me, amongst many other things, the power of technology, the power of a computer. If we were to teach it, not just to execute tasks, but to learn from previous tasks. That was, in the early 80s, the birth of artificial intelligence, the AI, or big data as we know it today. My brain was stimulated daily, surrounded by these intellectuals. My bank account improving, but my emptiness from my experience of war back home, Cyprus, could not let me forget the injustice done to my country. Those days where we were bombed in Famagusta in 1974, those images of my mama praying in front of the icon of St. Andrew, those wounded and dead I saw as a child with my siblings in St. Marcos Hotel, which turned into emergency hospital, the horror of war, the smell of the bombs haunted me, not allowing me to enjoy my success and my new life. That desperate voice of that 14-year-old girl, that's the only picture I have of me as a child. That desperate 14-year-old girl within me was crying out for justice. My intellect was growing, but my emotional world was dragging me down constantly by this whisper within me. Feeling guilty for my fellow Cypriots that I left behind, I was progressing abroad. I was given a chance, whilst half of my compatriots were turning to refugees, struggling, a lot still living in tents at that time. So I began to tell my story to journalists, politicians, and soon I became the voice of Cyprus in the Netherlands. A Dutch journalist, Henk Aben, took me under his wings, and as a father, he walked me through the corridors of the House of Parliament in Holland, introduced me to the major press journalists, the Prime Minister, the royalty in the Netherlands, and soon my voice was heard. I was telling them the history of Cyprus from a totally new perspective, a new narrative for Cyprus, which almost no one had heard of, a personal story. And that captivated them. Soon after, Cyprus heard of me and I was appointed honorary consul of Cyprus at the age of just 27 years old. Whilst I had just opened my own IT company, bringing international talent in the Netherlands from Silicon Valley to work in IT systems and data for the European Space Agency as my first client, who remains to date my client. But the dark underworld of illicit art traffickers recognized my passion. They targeted me, and given me being inexperienced and young, made them think that I would be the easiest prey. In 1987, I was approached to buy looted art, icons, mosaics, and frescoes from our churches in the occupied part of Cyprus. Just for clarity, for us Greek Orthodox Christians, these frescoes and mosaics depict passages from the Bible. In order to remove them, one has to exert force and drill into the wall, resulting in great damages. Most of these icons and mosaics date back to the 4th and 5th century, as Cyprus did not take an active role in the iconoclastic era, resulting to Cyprus having some of the most ancient Byzantine art in the world. This kind of heritage belongs to humanity, belongs to our world history. Imagine how I felt seeing the heads of the mosaics of St. Marcus, St. Thomas, and St. Andreas, which we all pray to, being offered to me to buy for $5 million per head. My Pandora box opened. I reported what the art dealer told me and the Cypriot authorities, but as soon as the Cyprus police turned up in Holland, the dealers disappeared, and also they changed their story. In the meantime, though, I learned about the destruction of the northern part of the northern part of our island. The systematic looting and the conversion of our churches into bars within me, that whisper within me. Nobody on and put into test. I used alternative thinking to gather in The Hague, consulate in The Hague, their Cypriot passports and became my friends. Every one of them, and they became my confidant about what was happening in the occupied area. That we had no internet, and we communicated by fax. And engaged in dealer who came made it so much easier for me. I was extracted than he gave to me. This time, although he came to cheat me, and we formed an unlikely collaboration about the illicit trade, and all its links to other criminal acts. All of that information I was sharing with the Dutch and Cypriot authorities as well as Interpol. Over time, I built network and expertise of informants, journalists, UN soldiers, collectors, insurance people, museum workers, academics, which fueled my database of information, documentation about illicit art trafficking and its link to other crimes such as extremism, weapon trade, drugs trade, and tax evasion by whitewashing money with antiquities trade. I found myself to be training Metropolitan Police officers in London about illicit art trading. My obsession was growing to bring back home to my people our religious symbols. I just wanted to make us smile. One icon, one fresco, one mosaic at a time. Bit by bit, I was building a mosaic of justice and hope for our people in Cyprus. The Archbishop Chrysostomos I shared and embraced my vision. He empowered me by giving me the responsibility of handling the repatriation efforts worldwide. The religious antiquities under Cyprus law belong to the Church of Cyprus. So it was an unpaid position, an honorary, but it had an immense responsibility on my young shoulders, which I felt I had to rise and honor the trust given to me. This relationship with the Archbishop, which was guided by unconditional trust between him and me, resulted in successful legal cases for repatriation in the Netherlands, Japan, Germany, Austria, USA, UK, Greece, and name it, we were there. This accumulated to the peak, the Munich sting operation in 1997, where, believe it or not, I'm not a James Bond on the hills, but I actually worked undercover for 35 years with Interpol, Europol, in this case with German and Cyprus police, an archbishop, and with the help of Michel von Rijn, we posed as buyers of all the looted art of Cyprus. Therefore, we allowed the authorities, the German authorities, to catch and expose the underworld network of illicit traffickers worldwide. We busted them on the 8th of October, 1997. You can read about all of this in my memoir on Amazon, The Icon Hunter, which has been translated into Greek by Livanis, Kiniwos Ikonon, and it's going to be published in Turkish next month as the anniversary of the 50th year of occupation in Cyprus. I am not selling the book for any other reason than the money to fund my charities, so all the rights are there. Using all of these lessons learned, the expertise and network from Cyprus, and working with top universities in the world like UCL and Oxford University and Leicester in UK, we empower other refugees to defend their own human rights using cultural heritage as our voice. We are now establishing a charity also in London where cultural heritage will be linking to education and human rights such as religious freedom. I want to move from what I did to why I do it, and religious heritage, the icons and frescoes for us It's a window to heaven. It's a way to pray. It's part of our prayer. And when you destroy them, when you sell them, you deprive me of my right to use them in my prayer. So you are actually taking my religious freedom away from me. So as you can see, my work shifted over the years from repatriation to focusing to educate policymakers to understand the link between cultural heritage and human rights and how the destruction of it affects communities forever. Throughout my journey as an alternative thinker, I felt misunderstood and very much alone. There are times where I felt that hopelessness and loneliness that I felt as a 15-year-old child whilst my home was bombed, and I truly lost my sense of belonging and my faith to international community or anyone to come to rescue. I only started to feel whole again as a human being after I started Walk of Truth and being surrounded by sisters and brothers worldwide who share my values and who come from all walks of life around the world. Nothing gives me more pleasure than seeing events and communities like this forming in Cyprus today. One of the most important lessons I've learned in my life is that we can never grow to our full potential unless we help others reach theirs. Empowering others, empowering youngers to become better than us is the key to success, both individually and collectively. So if you wish to be mobilized as a volunteer, please do reach out to us via info.walkoftruth.org, and I will be briefing the Tech Island leadership about our progress. And I would encourage you to come and work side by side with me as sisters, and I'm here for you to help you in any way I can with the lessons learned of me in the Netherlands and what the Netherlands did for gender equality or bringing knowledge workers or the visa for spouses. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.